This is what we're working on today. Now, if you do it really fast, it looks really complicated, but it's really not that bad. Welcome to Flow Tricks. It is Ken. How are you doing? Send me a comment. Let me know what you're working on, what you're up to. It's been a little bit of time. Just know that, like, even I'm not always able to make a weekly YouTube video when things get busy. I'm always making at least one Patreon video every week though. So if you're missing some of the videos or if you want more, don't forget patreon.com/flowtricks. Support us, keep our channel alive, and we will, and I'm always making new videos for that. So today I wanted to work on a Sym-X variant. Let's actually go over a couple of Sym-X variants. Now Sym-X just means symmetrical crossing, means both sides cross each other at the same time. This is a Sym-X variant. Let's just go over it really quick. This is an easy one, which is basically you hold it kind of two back grips, and you're holding it close, and then you're going to spread your fingers out. The reason why you spread your fingers out is because the higher up towards the center you go, the easier this gets. Your pinky fingers are going to kind of try to keep the chuck centered, but your pointer fingers, which as you can see are pointed outwards, are going to kind of push itself like that. And this will allow them to cross. Now, as long as they're not, this is just a little bit shifted off. Here, let me get another chuck. Here we go. That's better, right? So if they're pointed in the exact same area, they're going to crash into each other like this. So you got to make sure one is slightly ahead of the other, so they can pass by each other. And then all you do basically is you take your fingers and you pop them in each other. So basically, the center kind of pulls to the outside, while the top part of the chuck, the center, is kind of pushing towards the inside. Move them together and you get this nice little motion. Boom. If you do it a little bit harder, you can eventually get like this butterfly-like motion where it kind of pops in two directions. It takes a little bit of practice. That's more like you're kind of clapping your hands together and giving a little bit of upward lift at the same time, and it'll do that on its own. Now, what I'm trying to show you is it's kind of like a variant of that, except for it's more of a, it uses one hand to create a Sym-X. So it's not terribly hard to do, but in the middle of a combo, it looks really neat. And here's how you do it. It's very simple, but it does take a little bit of adjustment. You're going to have your left hand in a back grip and your right hand in a front grip, kind of like how when we do our rips, right? So you can get to this from when you're just doing your rips. You can get to this quite easily, okay? So once your left hand is in a back grip, all you're going to do is you're going to take your left hand and you're going to flick it over like this. So we're gonna stay in back grip. We're gonna put it to where the palm's facing towards the floor. Now, as the palm faces towards the floor, we're just gonna basically lift this up and allow this to rest over the top of the wrist. Now, depending on the length of your chuck is going to depend on the success of this move. If you have a longer chuck, you're going to have to adjust where you're holding onto this, so that way more arm wraps around to cover more distance, so that way it doesn't like just wrap around your arm. And if you have less space, it's going to have to be the same thing. You're going to have to adjust the way that you're holding the chuck to get the angle so it will rest on top. This one just happens to be almost perfect just because the length of my chucks is almost always a fist. If I make a fist and they hang downward just barely, that's the perfect length, and it also usually works really well for this move. So what you just want to do is kind of feel that out like this, and you're going to see if you can just get it to rest and make sure that both chucks are almost like how we do an X catch. The way that they end is going to make a huge difference, because if they ended kind of like this, it doesn't look nearly as good. So if we did an X catch and we're off plane, like this, it looks a little funky. It looks like you got tied up, when really you did the technique, you just didn't end it in the right spot. So boom, right? And it's going to be the same with this too. If your hand's down and it's looking like this is not very aesthetically pleasing, even though you still did the move. So it's very important that you have a nice tightness to it and it's straight on both sides. Now you notice that my arm also is kind of arced upwards diagonally ever so slightly, to kind of get the angle just right. You can just kind of feel it out and practice it until you can get it right. But it's very simple, and what's nice about this too is you can kind of shrug up your elbow and then pull this backwards to reverse it. So it's almost like a one-handed, well it's a one-handed Sym-X that you can do. You can hold it there too. You can lock it in a cool pose. What's up? And undo it. And if you do it fast enough, no one's going to know the difference, that it's actually not that hard of a move at all. So super easy trick. Takes a little bit of practice to get the balance of it, especially if you have a different length. But otherwise, it works great. If you have any questions or comments, leave me a message, please. It's always good to hear from you all. I'm going to be going over the YouTube comments in the next couple days, just making sure I'm catching up with everyone. But hope you all are well. Let me know what's up in your spinning world, and talk to you all soon.